If you do this for me, you will be a made man. Anything you want.
Smack this, grab this, no need to practice. You got the assets, I'm doing the asking.
3D third-person shooters have been around since the mid-90s. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 weren't breakthroughs in the action genre as much as they were revelations when it came to creating open worlds. Generating a map as big as Liberty or Anywhere City that players could navigate with freedom of perspective as well as movement was technically impossible, until the turn of the century. Criterion Games began evolving its 3D engine renderware in 1996. Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX utilized it in 2000, followed by Ubisoft's Rayman 2, before Criterion shook up the racing genre a year later with its very own Burnout. Instead of toiling with a custom engine of its own, DMA designed plugged-in renderware to see if its PC crime spree could really come to life.
You did good back there, kid. Real good. Come on, let's introduce you to the Don.
Terrific, terrific. Now listen, you guys, you go inside while I talk to our new friend here. I see nothing but good things for you, my boy.
Grand Theft Auto 3 was released on October 22, 2001. To the dismay of the franchise fanbase, it did not launch on the PC, instead greeting the world exclusively on Sony's PlayStation 2. It wouldn't release for Windows for another 7 months. GTA 3 was published by the 3-year-old Rockstar Games, an internal label of Take-Two Interactive that snatched up DMA after Gremlin Interactive was bought by Infogrames. David Jones left DMA and created a new studio that would eventually become Real-Time Worlds. GTA 3 took place entirely in Liberty City, GTA 1's version of New York. Rockstar created a website for the city's paper, the Liberty Tree, before GTA 3 launched, updating headlines based on events leading up to the beginning of the game. GTA 2's protagonist, Claude Speed, returned in a completely mute performance, taking each mission without a peep. Apparently, the thug felt his actions spoke louder than his words.
Stretch Armstrong is now in your world.
Yeah, what's up, Liberty City? You're checking out Game Radio. My name is DJ Stretch Armstrong. Been here with my man, Lord Sear.
Yo, what's the deal, fam? Right here, Game Radio, Liberty City, where the players play, and the pimpers pimp, and the hustlers hustle on, y'all. You're gonna hear the finest in hip-hop music right here on Game Radio. Yo, Stretch, come on, man. Hit us with the exclusives.
Although the perspective shift was drastic, GTA 2 and GTA 3 were essentially the same game on paper. Claude had to perform unspeakable deeds for rival factions vying for control of the city while trying not to get caught in the crossfire. He could steal virtually anything on 4 wheels, complete civic missions and service vehicles, pick up random weapons scattered around town, and engage in spontaneous illegal activities that could end in getting wasted or busted. The player could dive into the story to unlock all 3 islands, or just steal the nearest car and cut loose.
Some Diablo scumbag has been pimping his scuzzy bitches in my backyard.
It's time you met our man inside the LPD.
I paid you good money to kill that witness, and he ain't dead!
In these days of moral hypocrisy, certain valuable commodities can be hard to import.
The biggest change in GTA 3 was the inclusion of spoken dialogue and cutscenes. A respectable cast was brought together to voice the game's characters, including Michael Madsen.
The triads think they can mess with me?
Joe Pantoliano.
Remember, this is your foot in the door.
Frank Vincent.
We got us a rat.
Debbie Mazar.
Well, you don't think I hang around here for the conversation, do you?
Michael Rappaport.
I got a little job for you, pal.
Kyle MacLachlan.
People will read something into anything these days.
And Robert Loggia.
I know what you're thinking. Another bent cop. Well, it's a bent world.
The story opened with Claude and accomplices Catalina and Miguel robbing the Liberty City Bank. During their exit, Claude was betrayed by Catalina and left for dead. While in police transport to Portland Island, an unknown party miraculously blew up the Callahan Bridge, and Claude, along with a bomb expert named 8-Ball, escaped into the night.
I got a present come to Daddy. Run these scumbags into the ground and wash your shame in rivers of our enemy's blood.
8-Ball told Claude about a wise guy named Luigi, who then introduced the player to mobster Tony Cipriani and Joey Leone, the son of the Don, Salvatore. While payphones still led to odd side missions for hotheads like El Burro, King Courtney, and D-Ice.
There's a stash in an old jalopy, I need quick smart now.
Claude met each of the main characters in their homes or places of employment. The Yakuza, operated by Asuka and Kenji Kasen, turned Claude against the Italian mafia and brought him over to Staunton Island. The bridge explosion served as a giant invisible wall, even though nimble players could skip across it. If a player managed to make it to an island before the game invited them, all the available wanted stars would light up indefinitely.
Here we go now!
I've hidden a throbbing weapon on the edge of Chinatown. I'd join you, but I ain't due for my parole here for another 3 months, know what I mean?
Claude got lucky with Salvatore's widow, Maria, helped corrupt LCPD informant Ray Machowski get out of town, and made big things happen for businessman Donald Love. Love revealed that a friend of his, only ever referred to as the Old Oriental Gentleman, was kidnapped by the Colombian cartel when Claude was set free. Kenji got rubbed out, Donald Love mysteriously vanished, and Asuka was killed by Catalina while interrogating their mutual friend, Miguel. Catalina kidnapped Maria and agreed to an exchange in Shortside Vale, but it was really a predictable trap. She fled to Cochrane Dam, where Claude took down Catalina's helicopter, and after pondering his options, Maria as well.
I broke a nail and my hair is ruined. I mean, can you believe it? This one cost me $50.
Remember the music? Remember the clothes? Just forget about the morning after. Flashback FM.
I'm Tony on Flashback FM. Here's one for people who were so hip, if you know what I mean. It hurt.
DMA wisely used a lock-on targeting system for GTA 3's gunplay. While clunky, it let the player focus their aggression instead of running and spraying, although they could do that too. The mission compass from GTA 1 and 2 was replaced with a mini-map. A 24-hour clock was added that tracked the time of day, and Claude received the occasional message via his pager. A sniper rifle with the scope joined the arsenal, and the M16 also exclusively fired in first person. Guns could now be purchased at the local ammunition. If an Uzi was equipped, players could perform drive-bys, a helpful tactic when trying to take down enemy cars during missions. 4 camera angles could be chosen on foot, and 6 were available when in a car, including a cinematic fixed camera view and a top-down homage to the first 2 GTAs.
Time code delivery for in the stereo. And a 6 FM 101.1 is the business.
Rampaging around town offered its own rewards. 100 hidden packages were littered across all the islands that unlocked free weapon access. Kill frenzies were still available, certain slanted sections of the environment triggered slow-mo stunt cams, and jumps in a vehicle earned the player cash based on their craziness. Although it was never intended to fly, patient pilots also got the dodo in the air. It didn't take long for players to discover the street used in the opening cinema hiding behind Shoreside Vale's mountain. A lot of projects, whether they were games, TV shows, or movies, were forced to reevaluate their content following the events of September 11, 2001. A week after the tragedy, producer Sam Houser announced GTA 3 would be delayed so any content that might be misunderstood could be removed, like changing cop cars from NYPD colors to a more generic black and white. Also suspiciously removed from GTA 3 because of 9/11 or for other reasons were elderly pedestrians with walkers, buses, school children, and a terrorist named Darkle, whose rampage missions were either turned into frenzies or given to other characters. Rockstar even changed the cover, so the US got a collage of cropped items and characters from the production art that would come to define the franchise.
I want it to rain mackerel. We're talking real biblical here. Nothing low budget.
Grand Theft Auto 3 was the best-selling game of 2001 in the US. To date, it sold over 15 million units and is tied with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for the highest-rated PlayStation 2 game on Metacritic at 97 out of 100. The Windows version in May of 2002 supported much higher resolution settings, and it debuted on the Xbox in 2003. GTA 3 is even a bestseller today, arriving on iOS devices in 2011 for its 10th anniversary and the PlayStation Network in 2012. DMA, now one of Rockstar's irreplaceable assets, was purchased outright and renamed Rockstar North. GTA 3 was also the most controversial game of 2001. Walmart began carding people buying the game that looked under 17, and Australia's Office of Film and Literature Classification outright banned it. Parents and politicians condemned it, which only provoked their children and constituents to run out and buy it. Anticipating this, Rockstar began work on another GTA game only a month after GTA 3 was released, and it took 9 months to finish. Following the road trip from the first GTA, they headed down south to the Sunshine State. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was released on October 29, 2002 and was again exclusive to the PS2 for 7 months. Like Liberty City, Vice City was completely surrounded by water, although it took up almost twice as much space as the map from GTA 3. It brought some important upgrades to the series, but the core formula stayed the same. Missions opened up the map and unlocked new toys.
One thing you gotta realize about this town, you gotta pack some heat. Hey man, my God!
Hey, it's V-Rock, all the rock you want and some you don't. I know what the people want. Some mother-father V-Rock.
Unlike Claude Speed, Vice City's anti-hero had plenty to say.
Shut up, sit down, relax. I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
The displaced mobster Tommy Vercetti was voiced by Ray Liotta, who led another all-star cast, including Tom Sizemore.
You better not be screwing me, Tommy, because you know I'm not a man to be screwed with!
Luis Guzman.
These idiots, they're always trying to screw you. That's the problem with this business.
Fairuza Balk.
Let me point out some of our more distinguished guests.
Burt Reynolds.
A clean thinker. I like that.
Danny Trejo.
I'm going to make love like a man. You know that, chica?
Lee Majors.
Hey, Vercetti. Cougar says you can handle a bike pretty good.
Jenna Jameson.
Oh, Alex. I mean, Martha. Whatever you say.
And Gary Busey.
Son, I can shoot a fly off your head at 80 feet.
Oh, really?
Rockstar even cast actor Philip Michael Thomas, Miami Vice's Rico Tubbs.
The way I see it, we two hombres in a strange town. We need to watch each other's backs.
And one of the game's many direct references to the classic 80s television series.
What is this?
This is my art.
Vice City's story took place in 1986, 15 years before the events in Grand Theft Auto 3. Tommy was sent to the drug-infested cesspool by Sonny Forelli and almost lost his life in a botched drug deal with the Diaz crime family. With the help of strung-out lawyer Ken Rosenberg, gangster Lance Vance, Texas real estate mogul Avery Carrington, and Colonel Juan Cortez, Tommy set out to reclaim his property and monopolize the drug trade. In his journey to the top, Tommy crossed paths with wannabe promoter Kent Paul, Cuban loudmouth Humberto Rubina, motorcycle gang leader Big Mitch Baker, Haitian matriarch Auntie Poulette, and adult film director Steve Scott. The story also included several ties to GTA 3, including a brief appearance by a young Donald Love, and the explanation of how the often inebriated arms dealer Phil Cassidy lost his arm. Tommy took down the absurdly violent Ricardo Diaz only halfway through the game and acquired his massive estate in the center of the map. From that point on, the typical GTA mission required more of a financial investment than before. Tommy purchased real estate around the city that functioned either as a common safe house or potential asset. Failing businesses like Hoffman Cabs, Sunshine Autos, the Cherry Popper Ice Cream Factory, and the Vice City Print Works came with their own opinionated employees and string of missions. Completing all the necessary work unlocked the asset and a persistently generated profit Tommy picked up by stopping by each location. The real estate angle also emphasized the plethora of interiors in Vice City. Claude disappeared inside each safe house in GTA 3, but Tommy passed a door into several swinging locations like the Ocean View Hotel, Pole Position Club, Malibu Club, and the North Point Mall. Tommy also switched up his style with outfits unlocked by specific missions. Any failed mission could now be immediately restarted by getting in a marked taxi from the hospital or police station.
Let's get some rock served up. This is V-Rock.
V-Rock.
New cars and boats ran along the roads and waterways of Vice City that were tailored toward the new decade, and helicopters were flown for the first time in a GTA game. Although motorcycles were banned in Liberty City, Tommy seized 3 different kinds of bikes, along with a nimble moped. The weapon count almost tripled and had to be listed in sets. Oftentimes picking up one type of weapon forced it to be swapped for another of the same type. Vice City has more melee weapons than any other GTA game.
Guys, we gotta make this final.
This is Flashback. Push it to the limit, people.
GTA 3 was an amalgam of themes from several crime flicks like Goodfellas and The Godfather, but mostly contained references to prior GTA games. Vice City was much more direct in its adulation.
Oh, for God's sake, it's you! Oh, jeez, I'm gonna need new pants!
Ken Rosenberg was clearly modeled after David Kleinfeld from Carlito's Way, played by Sean Penn, and several elements pointed toward Brian De Palma's 1983 coke-filled crime drama, Scarface. Rockstar's love of the cult film was evident after an entire radio station was devoted to the film's soundtrack in GTA 3. An open Vice City apartment on the south side contained a chainsaw and carnage, reminiscent of a gruesome scene from the film. Diaz's mansion closely resembled Tony Montana's home, and the game ended in a staircase shootout similar to the film's conclusion, except for one detail: Tommy Vercetti survived.
Hey, this weekend, if you want to dance your ass off, check out Sex Club 7 for some steamy, hot trance music.
Grand Theft Auto Vice City achieved phenomenal sales and was gushed on by critics. GamePro and the official PlayStation magazine gave it perfect scores, and to date it sold over 18 million units. Like GTA 3, it first jumped to the PC in May of 2003, followed by the Xbox in October. A 10th anniversary mobile port was also released in 2012. As was the case with every GTA release, Vice City also pissed a lot of people off. The Cuban and Haitian community in Florida raised concerns against their portrayal, and their complaints were loud enough to reach the mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg. Florida-based attorney Jack Thompson brought several lawsuits against Rockstar following crimes in which the accused blamed the series for their violent tendencies. All the cases were dismissed. Grand Theft Auto 3 and its sequel, Vice City, laid the blueprint for a new genre in action games, the open-world crime drama. Many of the films these games referenced were later turned into similar interactive experiences before that generation of consoles ended. While DMA wasn't the first to the party, owing its inspiration to genre standouts like Shenmue, any game released after 2002 with cars to steal, guns to unload, and missions to finish was tagged as a GTA clone. Clearly, another GTA was incoming, and if the city progression in the first game was evidence of Rockstar's development plan, fans knew exactly where it would take place. In part 3 of our retrospective, we go west, as Rockstar creates not one city, but 3. Fan videos flood the internet, and playing Grand Theft Auto becomes an art form.